welcome to the affiliate interview series by StatsDrone. Today we talk with Glaswegian SEO legend Craig Campbell. Let's get to it. Yeah, we were just chatting about like all the different conferences that you're going to be in the Chiang Mai SEO event, and tell me what's going on there. Like it seems like it's a small event, but I've met a lot of people in the SEO space and iGaming that go there, and it's almost like when I ask them about this event, they don't know about this, but people in the SEO community kind of know what's going on there.
Yeah, so I think for me, it's the one event that I've been to where everyone from all over the world goes to it. It's like, I don't know why they're drawn to it. Maybe it's a Thailand thing, I'm not sure, but everyone seems to just go there for like 2 weeks, have a holiday. It's the end of the year, let their hair down, and obviously take part in the conference as well. And yeah, it's a kind of, I'm not going to say it's an unknown gem because it clearly is known. You know, it's sold out within 25 hours.
Yeah.
So it's unfair to say it's an unknown gem, but you know, a lot of people don't go to it. You know, the SEO community is far bigger than the 1,000 people that bought these tickets. But yeah, it's one of those ones. It's obviously far away for a lot of people. It's a big commitment to get yourself out to Thailand and all that kind of stuff. But it really is one of the most enjoyable events that I've been to in the past. I was there in 2018, so it was 5 years ago, and it's not been on for the last 4 years. Because of COVID and whatnot. So I don't know if it's just there's all this, people have been missing it, and it's just built up a lot of frustration that people have not been able to get out there, and boom, those tickets came out and everyone's going. But yeah, genuinely, what we're saying off here is that even if you were not to listen to the content that was on stage, you know, the people that attend are very, very smart people doing a lot of weird and wonderful things. And I took a lot of inspiration and ideas and all that kind of stuff away from that event the last time I was there. And yeah, it's that place where people are in iGaming or other weird and wonderful niches, and you know, you just sit down and chat to these guys, and they're making a lot of money and making a lot of headway in their you know, respective niches. And for me, that's what keeps us all going, and you know, just a bit of motivation and stuff, pushing each other along to be the best we can be.
Yeah, it sounds like the networking part is maybe potentially the more valuable part, where people are, like you said, networking, talking. You get to learn a lot from the panels, but I think it's really fine, like talking to people and kind of going, okay, you know, they let their hair down and they just talk about what works, and you know, everyone's not looking at each other going, oh, this is my competition, or I can't share you anything.
Yeah, exactly. People literally don't give a shit about what they're doing or worrying about you stealing their niche or whatever. So it's fairly open. And yeah, as I say, obviously I'm speaking there this year, but even if I wasn't, you know, it would be certainly one of those events that I'd be going to as an attendee.
Yeah, I think I might have got the last ticket.
I seen that, and I've had many messages since, because I was traveling on Monday when the tickets were released, so I didn't get to promote it until yesterday. And even at that, it was sold out, and people are like, dude, is this some bullshit? Is there going to be more sales? People will pull out. You know, you've got the opportunity to not go, and you know, I'm sure you could move your ticket on to someone else. But I had a few disappointed people message me saying, yeah, there's nothing left. What you know, can you sort me out? And I'm like, I don't have any clout to be able to sort out extra spaces there. You know, it is what it is.
I guess there's maybe a black market for these tickets now.
Potentially, you know, I think Justin Bieber doesn't even sell concerts out that quick, and there could be a business within that. Buy up all the tickets and double up on your money.
I'm sure if that happened, Matt Diggity would have to change the structure of how the event is sold.
Yeah, I'm sure, but people won't want to do that. You know, I think getting your ticket and going. And I'm pretty sure he will have limited the amount one person can buy. So
yeah, it seems like it's more a community event than anything. Like it's not a lot of people, but when I've gone to some smaller conferences, that's been the interesting part of being able to network with people. Where the bigger events like Sigma or iGaming Business, it's a zoo of people, and you're lucky to be able to chat with a couple people that you really want to see, and sometimes you're just like, nope, no time.
You just don't. You run like even we were supposed to. I know you messaged me prior to Sigma. I might see you out there, but by the time you get there, you get dragged out to dinner with someone you meet, and before you know it, you're leaving, and there's 25,000 people, and you don't get to meet the people that you maybe potentially actually wanted to meet. So it was a monstrous event, 25,000 people. It was chaotic, and I think I went to that conference the day I was speaking. I didn't go any other day. It was just too busy for me. I hate that level of people, that volume of people. That's just anxiety all over the place for me. So I stayed away from the event other than turning up to speak. So yeah, it's hard to network with something of that size.
And what's crazy is that there's a lot of people that hang out at the hotels, and the hotel bar itself is like a hopping area. You could easily spend the entire couple days there and just
Yeah,
network.
that's all I done. Hung out at my hotel, and people came there, and we had some good fun, some good times. But very small amount of people. I probably got to meet 50 people tops that out of the 25,000. So
Wow.
yeah, the stats are not great, but it is what it is. But it was fun.
Yeah, it was good for me. So yeah, we were like chatting just before this call. I was like, "Hey, let's get you on this podcast," and you're like, "Let's do it now." So no time to prep, but I've known of you for like quite a few years, and I follow a lot of things you do. So I mean, my point form notes are like, you're an SEO. You've got your own SEO courses. I've been following you, doing a lot of video for quite some time, and I know I've asked you for some tips on like, what has video done for you? And I'm pretty sure you would say it's done a lot in terms of helping your own business, as well as I'm assuming you do a lot of work on the affiliate side too.
Yeah, so I try and focus a lot more on the affiliate side now, just because I've been able to build up a little bit of a brand and awareness and do a lot of video stuff, and people want to obviously get their products or services or whatever promoted through those channels. So it's video for me has worked very, very well. And I think I really kicked off the video stuff when COVID hit. I wasn't able to speak at conferences and stuff like that for a few years, so video was the next best thing. And I've done very well and done podcasts and all that kind of stuff. And it's still obviously networking and learning and all that kind of stuff all rolled into one. So I thoroughly enjoy the video side of it. But I think in reality, a lot of people are scared to do videos for one reason or another, or don't want their face out there. But for me, I think, you've got the ability to shove this stuff out in social media, on YouTube and all over the place. So it's content, and I'd rather talk than type out a blog, and figure out the heading, the subheadings and blah, 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 blah. It's easy for it just to roll out and then get someone else to chop up the video and distribute it. So for me, it's easier than doing the old style blog posts. But from a personal side, I consume a lot of content in video format. I hate reading long blog posts and stuff like that. So again, I can go out a walk and I can listen to the headphones and listen to the video and podcast type of thing. So for me, it's a personal thing. I prefer consuming that type of content, and because of that, I've focused a lot on it over the years, and it's been very, very good for me.
Yeah, it seems like you're right. I think a lot of people that when they want to get into video, they're more uptight about not saying something stupid, or not having that practice of actually doing it. But I think once you get started, that changes things. But that kind of opens up the door for saying, well, if people are actually like, we already know this is happening. People are making a transition to consuming content as not just text. I mean, look at Audible for books. I mean, there's so many video platforms these days, and podcasting, it's kind of like, it's the new thing. But I think, do you think affiliates should actually look at going, how can they incorporate video rather than going back to like, okay, I'm just going to stay behind the computer, not be too public, and not get uncomfortable with video and just write content?
I mean, obviously there are certain industries that people do hide behind the content that they put out, and they don't have that video content, and they do very, very well. I've got friends who do a serious amount of content, and they still make relatively good money. But I think it depends on the niche that you're in. I think in our industry, the SEO space, people consume content in a different way, and they want to see over the shoulder tutorials and demonstrations of the tools and how things work in our industry. And I think for me, rather than reading something in text, I'd rather say, John, can you just screen share with me, show me how the effing hell you're doing what you're doing, and I can pick that up quickly. So I think because we have a lot of tools and weird and wonderful ways of doing things, the video works amazingly well. It might not work the same in the hairdressing industry, for example, where I think images might be better than videos, showing different types of haircuts and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's different for every industry, but certainly for ours, I think you can capture a lot more attention by doing the over-the-shoulder stuff and demonstrating the amazing tools that we have, and they're always coming out, and I'm pretty sure you're the same. Obsessed with all the latest automation and everything else that's out there. So, just talking about it, and seeing a face talking about it's not enough. We want to see, screens and demonstrations of how these things work.
Yeah, and my take on all of this, and maybe it's a change in SEO itself, is like, you can always get ghostwriters galore. So it's like, is there a real person behind there? So this whole idea about EAT, which is like, authority is part of it. It's you can't really get more authoritative than, like, we're not at the stage where we're faking videos yet and saying, okay, we're gonna use AI and make Craig talk about something else that he's not an expert in. But it's like, once you know your stuff, you can't really hide from it. But I think that's where people, they kind of go, I see you on video, I trust you. And my take on it is, like, even when you looked at LinkedIn, I saw something this morning that said people don't like press releases, they like stories. And it's like, this is why the stories inside LinkedIn are resonating. So when people start like sharing, like, okay, this is something that really moved me, it's like, some people might complain saying, hey, this isn't for LinkedIn. But it's like, well, apparently it is, because look at the engagement and look at the reactions.
Yeah, that's it. As I say, you've got to follow what's working, what's been engaged with, and what people want, and follow that trend. The platforms are opening all this stuff, kind of stuff up, and whether that's LinkedIn and stories, or Instagram reels and stories and everything else that you can do on the various different platforms, you've got to try and utilize them all and see what gets picked up. And I think shorter form content, a story or something, even YouTube shorts, people don't always want to listen to a big long podcast of people talking shit for an hour or whatever it might be,
like us.
My video editor does a lot of YouTube shorts and tries to clip the important things from videos that I'm on and share them, and they do reasonably well. So more people are consuming that. They don't want to hear all the other stuff, they just want the bullet points, which I totally get as well. So you just got to chop it all up, and as I say, talking for an hour can potentially make 10, 20, 30 different clips.
Yeah. And on top of it, another thing that I've read, that it's kind of like, the video content has the ability to convert people. So I think I asked Matt Diggity this about, like, he does obviously a lot of video, and he basically said, like, the conversion rate of video is just far more substantial than a blog post. And I think it goes full circle to, it's people talking. It's like, hey, I can trust this person.
Yeah, people buy into people, and if you come across as a trustworthy or a likable character, then that's what people want. They need something to buy into.
All right, let's talk about AI, because I noticed you did a post this morning talking about. I think you're on another podcast, and how are you using AI in your affiliate sites?
Not that well. I'm still fairly skeptical of AI. I said on that podcast, I have tried it. I've got websites that are AI only. I'm just smashing out a whole bunch of content. Am I finding it that easy? No, a lot of it's struggling to stick, and I'm playing around with different tools. I'm playing around with different, ways of doing it. So whether that's taking it, from something like ChatGPT, paraphrasing it, then using Grammarly, and then getting a human editor to edit parts of it, something like that sticks a lot better than just taking it purely from ChatGPT. And again, you've just got to play around with the right formula and see what works and what sticks and what doesn't. And for me, taking it purely from ChatGPT and slapping it on a website isn't that effective at all. But does AI work in terms of being able to do tweets for you? Does it do a whole bunch of other stuff for you? Of course it does. You can even get it to respond to emails for you, get it to help you with code. So there's so many benefits to it. But I think, from an SEO perspective and a content perspective, I'm still on the fence as to whether I would completely go down the route of AI content, because I think it will catch up with us. And, that's my assumption. Whether I'm right or wrong, I hope I'm wrong. It would be amazing for this stuff to just stick and we don't have to worry about it. But I think Google will come down hard on it and wipe out a lot of content. So I'm not all out on AI, is the short answer.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat. It's I'm using it more for how to write better emails. There's a tool I've been using called Lavender, and that's pretty cool. And aside from that, all else I'm doing is I'm making AI backgrounds for videos I'm doing. So when I've got the green screen out, I just say, okay, I need this specific background. So one was I did a fake awards ceremony. I'm like, awards backdrop, and I was like, perfect, done. Like, where else are you going to get this from?
Exactly. So I think there's many benefits from a marketing perspective overall. So I wouldn't quash it, but yeah, just use it at your own risk is what I'd be saying just now, until I get more conclusive evidence of how effective it's sticking, and obviously over a prolonged period of time. Then I won't be going down the rabbit hole of sacking off all content writers and going all out ChatGPT.
So with your experience in doing a lot in video, how would you recommend people get started? Like, I mean, there's a whole rabbit hole. Like when you type in, okay, how to start a podcast or how to start your own video series, or just get on YouTube and start making content that you're meant to kind of push towards affiliate marketing. What are your tips?
I mean, I think my tips to people are, the first thing that people always ask me is, how do you overcome the nerves? How do you do this, that, and the next thing? No one really gives a shit. As long as you've got something presentable in your background, you've got a good mic, a decent camera, which I don't have today because it's short notice. But, I think as long as you've got the right equipment, you've got to just get over yourself. People are like, oh, my hair's not sitting right, or whatever. Who cares? Is reality. And I think once you start getting a few under your belt, you start to get a feel for it. You become more comfortable with it. And for me, I am not a professional speaker or video person or anything like that. But if you've got the knowledge, then everything else should pull together. As long as the audio's good, and you're giving them something reasonably visual, sort of semi-decent background. You've got a couch and stuff like that there. Other people say that's the wrong thing to have. You should have lights and, all these kind of fancy things in the background. The reality is, who gives a shit? Backgrounds, like, as long as the lighting and the audio are there, I think just go for it and don't waffle too much. I'm probably a culprit where I talk too much, but don't go off into different directions. And I think you just learn by experience, just getting them done and putting them out there, and you get feedback. People saying you don't talk well, or you stutter too much, or you do this or do that, and you'll take that criticism, and before you know it, you become good at it. So I don't think I think too many people overthink it and worry about what other people say. Just roll it out. I've done podcasts with people where we just chat some fucking bullshit. It's unstructured. I do weekly Q&A sessions where it's off the cuff with people. The rawness is what people buy into. It doesn't have to be BBC style production. And I think everyone always has that expectation in their head. It has to be this or it has to be that. I think the rawness of it is what I enjoy and like seeing, people sitting around in their house or whatever crazy backdrop they've got going on. So don't overthink it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I know for people on my team, it's I get them to record a video, and then they're like, "Oh, I've recorded it 8 or 9 times, and 1 hour goes by, and they don't have that 1 minute video done because they're wanting it to be perfect." And for me, I'm in the same mindset. I've just kind of learned to stop caring and going. I think people like seeing, okay, this is a real person. They make mistakes, and it's we're not all coming from journalism backgrounds. And
the way I think about it is, it would be the same equivalent if you said to me, Craig, if we were in the same location, Craig, do you want to come for a beer and we just chat some shit about whatever we want to talk about? It's the same thing. There's going to be stutters, there's going to be this, that, and the next thing. And I've always tried to think of it like, I'm going to speak to you the same way as I would speak to you down the pub. And it is what it is. Don't worry about anything else, whether your hair's sticking up or whatever. And even for this, you mentioned, do you want to jump in the podcast? Sure, let's do it now. Let's not f around and try and come up with all these crazy questions or whatever. So this is all off the cuff, and I think it always comes out a lot better. When they are off the cuff, I think you can overcomplicate things by trying to have rigid questions and sticking to an exact time, and you're rushing through things, and it just doesn't come out the other end very well.
Yeah, in my experience in doing this podcast, it's usually I have a set of questions I write out, but the tangents always happen. I'm like, hey, if we're talking about something that's really interesting, I don't mind to veer off. And sometimes, quite often, it's like half the questions don't get asked just because, I'm like, no, I want to go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. So that would be my advice: is just don't overthink it too much. Just go for it, and you soon know when you put it out on Facebook, someone will have something to say, whether it be crap camera, crap, echoey background or whatever. Someone's always got something to say, and even at that, if you had the perfect production, someone still gets something to say. But I think you learn as you go along and adapt, and that's how I've always found it. I've been chinned for them all, called names, called this, told my mic, told my camera, my background, the whole works. And I started out with SEMrush many years ago, and there's a guy that was behind SEMrush at the time, and I'm actually doing a podcast with him tomorrow. Anton Shulka.
Yeah.
Dude. His standards are insane. So you'd buy all this stuff and he'd be like, Craig, your camera's bollocks, your mic's bollocks. And you're like, dude, I've just bought all this so-called good stuff. But you ain't getting past Anton. He'll find something to get you for. And I always laugh about it, but it's good to have standards. But yeah, he was the one you couldn't win. Anton is never happy. Something's
Okay.
shit. So
I'll keep that in mind if I get him on board, because I've been chatting with him for quite some time and he's got insane experience doing webinars and virtual events.
yeah, dude, you could have BBC style and you'll still find something. But yeah, it's he's the man. He ironed out a lot of kinks in my setups over the years. So yeah, he's a great guy and very honest. You know, the these guys from Eastern Europe, they don't mince their words. It's just this is that shit. So it was really funny.
Yeah. Well, we're having this chat in the morning without a beer, unlike in Malta, which that could have been a probable reality, and a lot of other interesting business tangents. But we'll wrap it up here. Craig, thanks so much for doing this. How can people get a hold of you, and tell us about all the different things you're working on? Because I know you've got courses, but what else do you do?
So you can find me on craigcampbellseo.com, or you can find me in any social media platform. There's just look for Craig Campbell SEO. I'm sure you'll find me. I buy and sell a lot of websites at the moment. I'm opening up a marketplace in order to facilitate that as well, which is launching in a few weeks' time. I dabble in affiliate. I do consultancy. The training side of it, I still do in-person training courses. I try and give a lot of value away for free on YouTube. I don't sell courses anymore. I just and I'll tell you one little story actually before we wrap up. I used to do a lot of courses and I actually hated those guys who steal your course. So someone will buy it, you know, or group buy it or whatever they're doing. They'll take all your stuff and then sell it on for a fiver or whatever on these torrent websites. And I decided at a certain point, if anyone was giving my content away for free, it'll be me, not these bandits. You know, and obviously to build your brand and your email list and all that kind of other stuff, it works massively. So putting out a lot of free content actually builds up a mailing list, a following, and all that kind of stuff. So it actually worked very well in my favor. I didn't realize, you know, how well it would do, but you know, I gave away a free course at the start of COVID and I had 50,000 sign-ups overnight.
Wow, that is a
On
ton.
Thinkific. So that's a lot of people, a lot of data, a lot of emails, a lot of people to retarget and all that kind of stuff. So think of the bigger picture and, you know, put out a lot of free content, and you know, it does keep the brand thing going and all that kind of stuff. So and off the back of that, you can still make money, you know, with a list of that size and so on and so forth. So don't be. I try and not be short sighted and try and charge everyone for every course under the sun. Offer value up front, and the consultancy and everything else comes from the back of that. So it works out well for me, and that's pretty much all I do. I've got a few other bits and bobs going on, e-com stores and stuff, but it's all SEO related. But yeah, I don't do the course thing anymore. I'm sick
Or
of
if you're going to do it, just go straight for the free route. Because I remember watching a lot of your posts where you'd have the Black Friday deal, and then someone would like steal it. And I remember watching your posts. You were just constantly chasing these people, and then eventually you're just like, screw it here.
it's yeah. I mean, I think there does come a time where you're just like, do you know what? You can't win this fight, other than doing what I've done. So yeah, it was rather annoying, but the statistics go. So even when I sold courses against, you know, giving them away for free, 91% of the people don't even finish the course, regardless whether they pay for it or not. So that's a kind of weird stat that I found out along there. So just put it out for free, and people consume what parts of it they need or want to. And I think longer term, that stood me in good stead.
Yeah, and I think probably the last tip to jump on what you've just shared is that there's always a value. So once you have that data, it's like, well, what else are these people interested in? You know, there's always something you can do.
Always. So don't be short sighted.
Awesome. Thank you, Craig. And I'm sure I'll see you at another event and at a minimum, Chiang Mai later this year.
For sure. Look forward to it, mate.
Thank you so much for listening. And wherever you listen to this podcast, please leave a rating and a comment and would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.